not because I'm running out of videos. I'm studying part-time, so usually I have class on weekdays. So my talk is about why web accessibility is everyone's job. Before I start, I work for a company called Seamless, just around the corner. We work in the government space, even though we're a private firm. We build 3 different products that mainly catering in the local government space. So our first product is Open Space. It's a simplest way you can build a local government website. And Open Forms, which is a form builder, again, thinking about integrating with all the latest systems. So working in that space, it's also important for us to make sure that the websites we build or the products that we offer are fully accessibility compliant. And I'm going to share a story that starts when this regulation in Australia wasn't even there. So this dates back to a couple of years ago, where how do we even start people to actually bring on board and start thinking about accessibility from the core rather than just having an afterthought. Before I go to my story, I just want to get an idea about how many of you know about web accessibility? Is there anyone already? Accessibility guru is sitting right in the front. Oh, that's good. At least a few people doing accessibility in their work. So for those who do not know about accessibility, I thought I'll just start off with something basic, like accessibility. Accessibility refers to the design of products, devices, services, or disabilities. Well, I'm very careful about using the term disabilities. It's not a personal attribute. It's more from even context dependent. Maybe you probably have an arm injury, or maybe you're a new parent. You're pushing the pram. So there are things that we need to be mindful of while we design our things. So when it applies to web format, web accessibility actually addresses visual impairments. It could be tunnel vision, or it could be color blindness, or mobility, or auditory, cognitive or intellectual disabilities like dyslexia. So there are a whole range of different conditions that we often forget to cater when we build our websites or applications. So just to get an idea about how it feels to be someone with a disability. So this is an exercise I came across online from empathyprompts.net. So I've just put in the URL there if you want to check out and share with your team. Just mute your speakers and try to watch a documentary. I know it's quite dumb when you really look at it, but this is how someone might experience who is having a hearing loss, and probably that person just had a hearing loss. They were hearing all the time throughout their life, and all of a sudden they just experience this. Another option is borrow a pair of glasses, or if you're already wearing one, just review and see how it feels like to access web while you're not wearing your glasses. So these are the few different activities you could actually try to see how it's like to be in a user's shoe with some form of disability. So why isn't your website accessible? We all talk about web accessibility is important. It's really important to make sure that we build our sites that is accessible, possible to use by a wider group of audience. But why are we not actually building the website to be accessible? Working in this space in the last 5 years, I just realized there's 3 common excuses, I would say, that I hear all the time. So I just thought I'll share my top 3 excuses. The first one is people with disabilities do not use internet. And this is, I have to say, sorry, I haven't done this in a public space, but bullshit. Because reality is people still need to actually fill out government forms, and they want to access online banking, or they want to connect with their friends just like you and me. So the whole idea of people with disabilities do not use the internet is something we actually have to forget. It's not true. The next one is people with disabilities make up a small consumer market. And this is something I often hear from FMCG or that sort of websites. But this is where I want to bring my numbers game. Well, if you really look at the data, in 2015, 4.3 million Australians are having some form of disability. It may not be visual, like it may be not something that's evident in real life, but that is 20% of Australian population. And if you really look at it, with the aging population in Australia, the people who are tech savvy in their, let's say, 30s or 40s or 50s, when they are moving towards, a bit more, older, that age bracket, we really need to start thinking about, whether our websites or applications that we build today are going to be accessible in the future or tomorrow. So that's just what I covered now. And this is an interesting story I'd love to share, because this is an organization that we all know, calls a blind woman based in Sydney called Giselle. She actually made a lawsuit against Coles after multiple complaints and trying to fix Coles' website and not, being fixed. So this news came out in 2014. It's fairly recent. So I highlighted the section that I thought it's important because since 2008, this lady has been using Coles' website to do online, shopping. And these are the people, really want to actually just sit in the comfort of their couch and they just want to shop online. They don't want to probably access the transfer system and go to the public and just shop. But what happened was Coles did some sort of code changes and they published some changes and it just stopped her from actually doing that process in the comfort of her home. So she tried contacting Coles a couple of times and still they haven't fixed. And at the end, in 2013 or something, she went public and with a lawsuit. At that time, it was a big news, and this was like a real eye opener for a lot of other organizations in a similar position where people can actually bring you and take you to the court. So that was quite a powerful message that came through it. And I really like this quote that I found on ABC News. I don't want special consideration, just want the same consideration of other customers. Because she's not asking for anything special. All she's asking is, I just want to shop just the way anyone else is shopping. So that is definitely something, we always forget when we start building things. So if you want to know more about the case, there is the, URL given on the slide. But what I like about the case is, Coles turned around, and Coles now have a dedicated accessibility team, within the web team. And they're working towards making sure every app or every website they build is accessible. And that is amazing. And that is a story where, how much committed an organization can become, to make sure they provide an accessible web service. So I really want to highlight that story because it is a story of someone actually, something went wrong, but they turned around and started offering really accessible service. And the last excuse, accessibility will compromise my website design. This is a favorite one because I hear this all the time from my designers and they're like, oh, I can't meet this color contrast because this pastel color looks so pretty and I just want to use it. But it is not really, compliant because people with some sort of visual impairments can't really see the color difference. So if you're using a lighter shade on a, white background, that it is not something readable. It doesn't have to be visual impairment. Let's say, if you're out in the sun and just coming back inside, that few seconds you can't really look at your phone and read what's in your text, the same thing. So just imagine someone actually living with that form of disability. So that is something we need to be mindful of. So I always go back to my designers and say, look, meeting accessibility requirements is easier than we think. If you don't really go and push through your pastel colors and stuff like that, you can really meet accessibility. It's again, take it as a challenge where you are actually giving this as a constraint, but push your own boundaries and see how creatively and cleverly you can actually create designs. So now you might be thinking, all right, now we know these are the different reasons why we need to make our website accessible. So how do I make my website accessible? Where do I even start? Well, the first step is web accessibility guidelines. I'm not sure if you know about it. This is a set of guidelines that the consortium has put together to say, well, these are the different, things that you could do to make your website accessible. So an example would be this one. So there's so many different guidelines. I just took a screenshot to show text alternatives and time-based media. So there's HAVES, which you could, have a look at in your own time. And just to give you, the depth, this is like all guidelines that Stanford put together a while ago. So if you want to grab that map, you can actually access from the URL. But it just shows the depth of how much there is to get through to actually make your website accessible. And this is part of the reason why many agencies or many companies are running away from meeting the website accessibility requirements. But what can we do to make it accessible? And that's where my story actually starts. So the story has two versions. Version 1 happened in 2013 and version 2 happened in 2016. So let's go to 2013 and see what happens. So this is a photo from Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Adam organized 2013, and I was one of the participants, really new, and just testing our different meetup groups, looking at what's around there. This topic caught my attention because I didn't know much about accessibility. I have no clue, so I thought, I'll just give it a go. I'll just go along and see what's going on. So one of my favorite presentations from the night is someone from Vision Australia. They talked about the importance of having an accessibility plan. Just similar to what Kat was talking about, design projects and stuff like that. I guess where the story starts is you go to all these different meetups, you listen and you get inspired. Oh my God, these are the amazing stuff we could go and do. But how many of us actually go back and really implement it? So that really made me think, what am I doing with going to all these meetups where if I'm not really practicing what I'm hearing or listening? Not everything can be practiced, but there are simple changes we could make to do that. So that talk really inspired me to go back to my team and say, hey, can we actually start thinking about a framework what we could do? And I have no idea about, at that stage, what exactly I was doing. I just want to try and see what happens. And I have to say, I was very lucky to be a part of the team where I have really good support from the top level management to make things happen. They trust me. They're like, yep, run, go and do whatever you want to do. Just get the team members who we want to get. So I was lucky enough to actually pull together a team to actually create something I call Seamless Web Accessibility Committee. And unfortunately, this is the only image, this is the only image I could find of the team because we never ended up taking a photo together. So this is a photo from 2013. So in this photo, it's hard to find everyone, but basically this is my senior product engineer. That's our front-end developer, designer, tester, and I was the UX person at that time. So basically we pulled together people from different teams to come together. So the idea was every week we meet together and we go through one guideline a day and then understand, okay, what is this guideline all about? And then we try to break down into something that everyone can understand, not the version that's on the web, because we found it really, really hard. When I said really, really hard, it means this is guideline 2.1, keyboard accessible. All functional content is operable through a keyboard interface without requiring specific values for individual keystroke. It's not that like function requires independent that depends on the content. This is when I not just the points. So that is a whole chunk of thing. I was just trying to get it out of my mouth because it's hard. It's hard to know exactly what this is all about and how do you even incorporate that in your work. So what we did was we translated that to a bit more meaningful information. So it basically says, ensure that all functionality that is available to users via mouse is also available by keyboard. It's not rocket science, but the way how it was written previously made you feel like too much information, I can't handle it. So this is what it was about, but it took us a while to figure it out because none of us knew what was going on. But the good part of bringing a cross-functional team is even if you don't know a part of it, someone else can chip in and they can help you to understand and decode it. So what we did was we made sure we split and we understood each and every guideline into a bit more a meaningful way. And for each guideline, we also wrote a checklist, what we should be doing as a company, as a team, to make sure we pass that criteria. So this is just an example. And we then assigned a team member. Who is it? A developer, tester, or it could be someone doing UX stuff. So who is actually responsible to actually make sure this happens in the team? So this is a sample format we created. So it was a great work. We worked over 5 months. Probably we spent 170 hours together. So we completed the entire guideline. So we translated everything from start to finish, and that was our goal. So we finished it. So we created this checklist, and we started, sharing this checklist with everyone. Oh yeah, we did the checklist. You all should start using from now on. It was a great project, but I have to admit it was a disaster in terms of people didn't buy into it. Everyone likes checklists. Everyone wants to see, oh, there's a checklist. We need to go through it. But how many of us would actually go through a checklist to make sure we're I would call myself. That was a very decent idea, but poor implementation. And I took full responsibility for it because it was my crazy idea. And I have to thank my company to actually believing and allowing me to get time, resource to actually run it. So I was very keen to go back and change that perception because we, as a company, still didn't achieve anything that we set out to do for accessibility. And this was around the same time the government announced that all the websites needs to be accessible by the end of So we almost have a year to, get to that. So that also kind of brought a bit momentum back to the team saying, all right, now it's a government relation, we need to start thinking about it. But still, we were not thinking accessibility first mindset. That was still missing because that was still not baked into the team. And that's where my take two starts in 2016. I knew that before I go and redo the whole thing, I need to change the way I approached it. Because initially I went through top down. I got the buy-in from the top level management. Then I went to the team saying, hey, look, we need to do it. But it was my idea, not their idea, right? So that's when I just realized I need to change this. I need to start this the whole movement back from inside. So a shift needs to happen inside. So one thing I started doing is I started organizing stuff with everyone. So I started getting people involved saying, hey, this Global Accessibility Awareness Day. I believe it's in May, I think third Thursday of every May. So started getting all the people involved and saying, hey, these are things happening around us. Let's start exploring and learning a bit more about it. Took the team to try out, different, conditions that I talked about earlier. So you can actually get these free glasses from Vision Australia to test with the team to see how to use web, having that kind of vision, or how to use web with that kind of blindness. So there are different conditions that you could do. Even if not having this, maybe when you go back tomorrow to work, try accessing one of your favorite websites, but do not use mouse. Just try to navigate through your keyboard and see how accessible it is. So once my team went through this, you can see, CEO is doing, because we didn't have a proper glass for him, we actually tied his eyes and asked him to complete a Google search or whatever. And that really allowed people to immerse and, use this shoe with some form of disability. This is a great way for me to actually get people on board to understand and explain why is it important. We also started attending a lot of community events, and this is a quote from Ali Bites. This is something Adam organizes every year. So got the whole team, go and attended these events, and they have a range of speakers talking. So that really helped us to gain a momentum back in the team, because earlier people kind of knew this checklist and Graham's crazy idea, but now people started thinking about, all right, need to think change. And that's when I realized I can't do this by myself. I was trying to control and I was trying to bring things together. But it's my baby, but at the same time, I need to let it go. And that's when I read this whole article somewhere from David. David is now the Director of Product Design at DigitalOcean. So he talked about an evangelist is only as good as a stretch of their voice. You can't be everywhere. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to be the developer. I was trying to be the designer. I was trying to be the front-end developer, bringing things together, but I can't be there. So I realized I am the blocker. I am the person kind of preventing the team from achieving what we could have achieved together. So I decided it's time to pass the accessibility committee baton to the new team. So this is a tweet. I was emotional because I'm like, I'm just letting my baby go. But that was the right thing for me to do. New team was formed, and Mike from the team is sitting here. So this is a bit of a background story which I haven't shared with you guys. So one thing I did before creating this team was I caught up with every team, right? So all these people belong to different disciplines, UX. So I'm totally caught up with every team lead to explain the importance of us doing it. And previously what didn't work was every time there was a project work or a client paid work coming in, this accessibility stuff was pushing on the side because it wasn't something that we were getting paid to do. And it wasn't tied back to the KPIs because people are reviewed at the end of the day saying, oh, what did you deliver? How much time you spent on something. So because it wasn't tied to the KPI, it wasn't tied to the client work or the importance, it didn't get the priority that it should deserve. So this time around, I went back the other way. I started getting the team leads on board and started getting their support. And I said, look, we really, really need to do this and we really need to change stuff. And again, that conversation went for a while, but everyone came on board. So every time a team lead is having a discussion with one of the team members, they knew exactly what they're doing. So it's not like, oh, don't waste time on doing this accessibility stuff. Everyone were on board this time around, which was different the case. And the funniest thing what happens. So when you give a team A to do something, you're just giving them a goal, saying, look, we want to change the way we work, and this is the goal. Do not ever tell the team what to do. Just do not do that. And that was a mistake I made in the first week. So that's something changed. And the first thing they did when they actually formed as a team, they changed the group name. Initially it was Seamless Web Accessibility Committee. They don't like the word committee. So they changed the Seamless Web Accessibility Group, SWAG. And I think that's pretty cool and sexy. So that was the first thing team actually did once they formed together and started working on it. It also helped me to have that accessibility champions that I'm talking about. So one of my colleagues, Shannon, this is her presenting at Australia in Sydney last year, started spreading the awareness of why accessibility is important and how other organizations can connect. Because I'm very thankful and grateful for Adam for organizing such meetups where I can learn and I could take this knowledge back to my team. So I'm doing these talks to inspire everyone else. So if you can make a smaller change in your company, please go ahead and do it. And that's the whole purpose of us doing this together. So the next phase was more about, we have done this, we have recreated checklists, so the team completed, the less than the time they asked us to do. But we still need to bake this into the entire organizations. So a few things we did was we sponsored staff members to get certified in web accessibility. So University of South Australia offers a certification course if anyone is interested in getting a certification. A company sponsored nearly 10 of us to actually part of this program. We also created like a dedicated email address, swag@seamless.com. So if anyone got any question around accessibility, all they need to do is just send an email and they will respond. And also, if there is a new tool out there or anything new happens in the web accessibility space, this is the team responsible for educating the entire team. And web accessibility also became a part of our onboarding program. So it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter you're coming on board as a comms person or a customer service, it is mandatory to say that you need to go through this training. So from day one, we are bringing that knowledge to the team. If they don't know about accessibility, sorry, you're at the wrong place. So we started, thinking about accessibility as a last item. We just brought the conversation forward. From day one, we started doing it. And this is Shrikant from our swag team presenting on our first Friday. About accessibility and actually teaching everyone else about what the guidelines and everything is. Now, that also helped us in bringing accessibility as a competitive advantage. I talked earlier, our company works in the government space, and to the best of my knowledge, we were the only provider in that space in local government offering fully level AA compliant products. Our team achieved this in less than 6 months since we reinstated the web accessibility group. That's a huge achievement for a team where, they just changed. They just completely turned around. Where initially was accessibility was the last thing, now it's being the core of everything we do. And that's an amazing story. And the next 2 slides are definitely a brag because I'm so proud to see what we achieved. This year, we also won Geek Diversity Award under government category for our work in the accessibility space and creating inclusive design. So it's been a huge, appreciation for us as a team to know that good work has been acknowledged. And last week, we also came to know that we won a bunch of awards in design space. So we won the Melbourne Design Award as well as San Francisco Design Award. Because a part of our work is now in the US, so we've been working a lot in the transforming the way people interact with US cities. So our work with Grand Rapids in the US kind of won our San Francisco Design Award. So it's been an amazing journey, and it took us, I guess, 3 or 4 years to get here. But the whole idea is, you can fail, but just go back and redo, what you can change. So now the question would be, what's next? I don't think we are there yet. We are fully compliant, or we are fully, done with our work. I remember catching with Adam at some stage when I was so proud that OpenCity is our platform is fully level A compliant, which is a certification we received from Vision Australia. And I was telling Adam, oh my God, we got this product, you should probably check it out. So Adam actually had one of his colleagues who had some sort of some form of blindness. So she used our platform. And I just realized, we got the Vision Australia level AA, checklist and certification, everything. But our platform wasn't quite there. There were a few glitches which only a real person, when they test it, can pick up. So one thing I want to go back and do is we need to develop personas for differently able users to ensure we are building products in an inclusive way. And the next is actually recruit differently able users to participate in user testing. This is an area we haven't done yet. So this is something I'm really focused next year to actually test with real users to see how much the checklist or the guideline certification is real and true. It is true. I would say 95%, but I guess there's a small percentage of things that we miss out if you don't know really. So now you might be wondering, all right, these are great, this is your story, what can I do right now? So what you can do right now, maybe you can do tomorrow when you get back home, or even tonight, read the weekend guidelines, just have a look around, okay, what is this checklist all about and how you can incorporate that in your work. Or even try out an assistive technology. There are heaps of, websites, what do you call the read speaker, and there are a few different technologies that you could use where you're a blind person, how do you access web? See whether whatever you're working on right now is actually accessible. And that would be a great exercise for you to know where you stand. Check the color contrast. If you're a designer, if you're working on something, just go and have a look at your designs and see whether it matches the color contrast. Add alt text on images. Again, if you're a developer, you know what I'm talking about. So these simple things could make a difference. You would never know, who you might be preventing from accessing yourself. And next year, if you're around, LA Bytes and LA Camp, these are 2 great events that happening in the web accessibility space. LA Bytes is a series of lightning talks, organized as a part of the Global Accessibility Awareness Day. They bring like a fantastic lineup of speakers every year, so it's been amazing. LA Camp is a 2-day workshop/conference, so they again bring for a longer version of the talks as like a workshop format. So if you want to really get your hands dirty and learn more about the website accessibility space, this is something you could check out. Or you could start your own version of swag, and that's where I hope my story inspires you. And again, one common question I receive after the end of my talk is, can I have the checklist? Unfortunately, we spent 500 hours on creating it over the last 3 or 4 years. So it's the IP of our company. So I actually asked my boss, can I share it? But I didn't get the approval. So obviously, I won't be able to share the entire checklist. But if you have any questions for the format, or if you are thinking about doing something similar, I'm more than happy to catch you and help you out with that. That's about it. Thank you so much.